Hare Krishna, welcome to all devotees. Now we'll start today's Bhagavatam class. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrutyam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tatvajayam Udiret Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naistiki. Hare Krishna Dandavat Pranam. Today we start new chapter of Srimad Bhagwatam Canto 12, chapter 11, summary description of Mahapurush. Mahapurush means spiritual supreme personality of God. Shloka number 1 to 17. Sri Shaunaka Uvacha अथ इमम् अर्थं पृच्छामः भवन्तं बहुवित्तमं समस्ततन्त्र आराधनान्ते भवान् भागवत तत्त्ववित् तान्त्रिकः परिचर्यायां केवलस्य श्रियपते अंग उपांग आयुध अकल्पं कल्पयन्ति यथा च यैः तन्नः वर्णय भद्रं ते क्रिया योगं बुभुत्सुतां येन क्रिया निपुणेन मर्त्यः याया त अमत्तेतां सुत उवाच नमस्कृत्य गुरून् वक्षे विभूति वैष्णवी अपि याः प्रोक्ता वेदतन्त्राभ्याम् आचरे पद्मज आदिभिः माया आद्यैः नवभिः तत्त्वैः स विकारमयः विराट निर्मित दृश्यते यत्र सचित् के भुवनत्रयम् एतत् वै पौरुषं रूपं भूपादौ द्यौ शिरः नभः नाभिः सूर्यक्षिणी नासे वायुः कर्णौ दिशः प्रभोः प्रजापति प्रजननम् अपानः मृत्युः ईशितुः तद्बाहव लोकपालाः मनश्चन्द्र भ्रुवौ यमः लज्जा उत्तर अधरः लोभः दन्ता ज्योत्स्नास्मय भ्रमः रोमाणि भूः अहा भुम्ना मेघा पुरुषमूर्धजा यावन् अयं वै पुरुषः यावत्या संस्थयामितः तावन् असौ अपि महापुरुषः लोकसंस्थया कौस्तुभ व्यपदेशेन स्व आत्म ज्योतिः बिभर्ति अजः तत्प्रभाव्यापिनी साक्षात् श्रीवत्स उरसा विभुः स्वमायां वनमालाख्यां नाना गुणमयी ददत् वास छन्दमयं पीतं ब्रह्मसूत्रं त्रिवृतस्वरं बिभर्ति सांख्यं योगं च देवः मकरकुण्डले मौलिं पदं परमेष्टं सर्वलोक अभयकरम् अव्याकृतम् अनंत आख्यम आसनम यत् अधिष्ठितः धर्मज्ञानादिभिः युक्तं सत्वं पद्मम् इह उच्यते ओजसः अबल सहोबलयुतं मुख्य तत्वं गदां ददत् अपां तत्वं दरवरं तेज तत्वं सुदर्शनं नभो निभं नभः तत्वं असीं चर्मतमः अमयं कालरूपं धनुषार्गं तथा कर्ममय ईशुधिम् इंद्रियाणि शरान् आहुः आकुति अस्य सेन्दनं तन्मात्राणि अस्याभि व्यक्ति मुद्रया अर्थक्रियाम् आत्मतां मंडलम देवयजनम दीक्षा संस्कार आत्मनः परिचर्या भगवत आत्मनः दुरित क्षय. Translation and purport by the Srila Prabhupada. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Sri Shaunak said, O Sud, you are the best of learned men and a great devotee of the Supreme Lord. Therefore we now inquire from you about the definitive conclusion of all Tantra scriptures. All good fortune to you. Please explain to us who are very eager to learn the process of Kriya Yoga, practice through regulated worship of the transcendental Lord, the husband of the goddess of fortune. Please also explain how the Lord's devotees conceive of his limbs, associates weapons and ornaments in terms of particular material representations. By expertly worshipping the Supreme Lord, a mortal can attain immortality. Sutta Goswami said, offering obeisance to my spiritual masters, I shall repeat to you the description of the opulences of Lord Vishnu given in the Vedas and Tantras by great authorities, beginning from lotus born Brahma, the universal form, Virat, of personality of Godhead includes the nine basic elements of creation, starting with the unmanifest nature and their subsequent transformations. Once this universal form is instilled with consciousness, the three planetary system become visible within it. This is the representation of the Supreme Lord as a universal person in which the earth is his feet, the sky his navel, the sun his eyes, the wind his nostrils, the demigods of procreation his genitals, death is anus, and the moon is mind. The heavenly planets are his head, the direction his ears, and the demigods protecting the various planets his many arms. The god of death is his eyebrows, shame his lower lip, greed his upper lip, delusion his smile, and moonshine his teeth, while trees are the almighty Purusha's bodily hairs, and the clouds the hair on his head. Just as one can determine the dimensions of an ordinary person of this world by measuring his various limbs, one can determine the dimensions of the Mahapurush by measuring the arrangement of the planetary system within his universal form. Upon his chest, the Almighty, unborn personality of Godhead bears the Kaustubh gem, which represents the pure spirit soul, along with the Srivatsaman, which is the direct manifestation of these gems, expansive effulgence. His flower garland is his material energy, comprising various combinations of the modes of nature. His yellow garment is the Vedic meters, and his sacred thread, the syllable Om, composed of three sounds. In the form of his two shark-shaped earring, the Lord carries the processes of Sankhya and Yoga, and his Kriya, crown, bestowing fearlessness on the inhabitant of all the worlds, is the supreme position of Brahmaloka. Ananta, the Lord's sitting place, is the unmanifest phase of material nature, and the Lord's lotus throne is the mode of goodness endued with religion and knowledge. The club the Lord carries is the chip element, pran, incorporating the potencies of sensory, mental, and physical strength. His excellent counsel is the element water. His Sudarshan disc, the element fire, and his sword, pure as the sky. The element ether. His shield embodies the mode of ignorance. His bow, named Sharanga, time, and his arrow, filled kiver, the working sensory organs. His arrows are said to be the senses, and his chariot is the active, forceful mind. His external appearance is the subtle objects of perception, and the gestures of his hands are the essence of all purposeful activity. The sun globe is the place where the Supreme Lord is worshipped. Spiritual initiation is the means of purification for the spirit soul, and rendering devotional service to the personality of Godhead is the process for eradicating all one's sinful reactions. Purport by the Srila Prabhupada, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The nine basic elements of creation are Prakriti, Sutra, Mahat Tattva, false ego, and the five subtle perception. The transformations are the 11 senses and the 5 gross material elements. Various aspects of material creation, such as the earth, the sun, and the trees, are sustained by various limbs of the universal body of the Lord. Thus, they are considered non different from Him, as described in this verse, which is made for meditation. All activities ultimately aimed at the supreme perfection of life, and this perfection is awarded by the merciful hands of the Lord. The gestures of the Lord remove all fear from the heart of a devotee and elevate him to the Lord's own association and the spiritual sky. One should meditate on the fiery sun globe as a place where God is worshipped. Lord Krishna is the reservoir of all effulgence, and thus it is fitting that he be properly worshipped on the glowing sun. Thus end the purport. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Ena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah. Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Ena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Mande Aham Sri Guroho Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavancha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sahadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Sri Vishakanvitancha Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubecha Krupa Sindhube Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Nama Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Dandavat Pranam. Today we continue new chapter of Srimad Bhagwatam, Canto 12, chapter 11. Summary description of the Mahapurush. In this chapter, the describe about the Mahapurush and the various expansions of the sun in each month. Here, Sri Sud Goswami first said Shaunaka Rishi about the material object through which one can understand the major limbs, secondary limbs, weapons, and garments of the Lord Sri Hari. Those are comparing with the Virat Rupa of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Every limb with every symbol of this material world. How that is described in these shlokas. Prabhuji will tell you in detail. Vancha kalpatarubecha Rupa sindhube evacha Patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. So, a very important description of Mahapurush is what we are starting today, as the chapter name itself states. So, what we are going to be studying in this chapter over the next 3 days, starting today, is a summary description. Because in the context of worship, this chapter is going to be helping us understand Mahapurush, his description, his various expansions, and also the expansions of sun in each of the month. So what Sud Goswami ji is doing is, he's initially telling Shaunaka Rishi and all the assembled sages out there about the material objects through which we can understand the major limbs, the secondary limbs, the weapons, the garments of Lord Hari. And then he is going to outline the process of practical service by which a mortal soul also can attain immortality. So, what is it for us practically to study and implement from this chapter? So, first and foremost, it helps us understand that yes, there is a supreme creator who has created this whole creation, that there is a place where he is there. And it was our silly mistake that we left him. We left our loving Father. And hence, we need to learn about him to go back home, back to Godhead. During the description and the story of Markandeya Rishi, his meeting with Rudra and Rudrani, we understood how illusion covers us, covers our mentality, covers our identification. Like Krishna also told in Bhagavad Gita, how it is his own covering which is preventing us from identifying our true self. So we are in this similar situation right now, and we need to overcome this situation. So Shaunaka Muni, he asked Sud Goswami ji that, Sud Goswami ji, you are a supreme, you are a great devotee of Lord. And hence, we need to understand the definitive conclusion of all the scriptures, especially the Tantra scriptures. We need to know, and we are very eager to learn about Kriya Yoga, which is practiced through regulated worship of Transcendental Lord. And that is why we need to understand how devotees can conceive Lord's limbs, associates, weapons, ornaments, especially from a material perspective. And how, by worshipping the Supreme Lord, a mortal can attain immortality. Now, just to remind all of us, I am a mortal. This body is mortal, though I, being a soul, am immortal. So, as long as I identify with the body, I am mortal. But the moment I identify myself as a soul, I can achieve immortality. So, in order to achieve that identification with soul, we can worship Supreme Lord. So, that is what is being asked by Shaunaka Rishi out here. And Sud Goswami ji is responding very dearly. And before he starts the description, just look at what he is saying. He is offering obeisances to his spiritual masters. And that is where it again reiterates the importance of taking all the knowledge in a group parampara system. Because when the knowledge comes in parampara, then only it is true knowledge. Otherwise, there would be destruction of the message. And so the Goswami ji initially offers his obeisances to the spiritual master and tells that he is going to be giving the description which is given in Vedas by great authorities, right from Brahma onwards. And which form is he referring to? He is referring to the Virat Swarup of Lord Shri Krishna, because it includes the 9 basic elements of creation, the unmanifest nature, its subsequent transformations. And once this universal form is instilled in consciousness, the 3 planetary systems become visible within it. Now, just to summarize a little, this same universal form of Krishna was shown by Krishna to Arjuna, and he had given him that divine vision by which he could see at it. But then he became afraid because he knew that this is not the form which can help him go back home, back to Godhead. But then that form has its importance because it makes us understand the universal person. And that is why these descriptions, which have come from Brahma onwards. And a humble request, if possible. This lecture is there on Krishna for Us YouTube channel. Try to listen to the whole chapter with your eyes closed and just try to imagine the description which is there. I was doing it a little while ago, right now, when Mataji was reading, and I found it gives a different kind of peace. So maybe you can also try on the Krishna for Us YouTube channel. So here the descriptions come one after the another, wherein it starts right from the feet, and that is what we are told in the parampara system, that we have to look at the Lord, we have to take his darshan right from his lotus feet, then his legs, then the thighs, then his waist, then his chest, then his arms, neck, the lotus face, and the eyes. So that is what we are told, how to look at Krishna. Because then that gives us that purification. And here see, even Sud Goswami ji is starting the description from the feet, which he is saying that earth is his feet. And then comes the navel, which is the sky, the eyes, the sun, the nostrils, the wind. His genitals are the demigods of creation. Death, the anus, mind, the moon. The head is the heavenly planets. The ears are the directions. The arms are the demigods protecting the various planets. His eyebrows, it's the god of death. Lower lip is the shame. Upper lip is the greed. His smile is the delusion. Teeth is the moonshine. And the hairs on the body are the trees. And the hair on the head are the clouds. Now, you can just imagine, we can count the dimensions of material aspect. But that is for an ordinary person. But when it comes to Mahapurush, then we can understand his dimensions by measuring the arrangement of the planetary system. And then we come at his chest, where he has the Kaustubh gem, which is the pure spirit soul. And that is the Shivatsa mark, which is the manifestation of the effulgence of the Kaustubh mani. He is always wearing a flower garland, which is his material energy. And the flowers, actually, they are the combinations of the modes of nature. He wears a yellow garment, which is the Vedic rhymes. The sacred thread is the Om. The earrings, they are the, what I'll say, the Shankya and the yoga system. The crown which he has, it gives the fearlessness to all of us and is the supreme position of Brahmalok. Krishna is sitting on Anant. It is the unmanifest phase of material nature. And the lotus throne is the mode of goodness. And since it is mode of goodness, it definitely has religion and knowledge in it. Krishna is also carrying a club. So it is Pran. Now, Pran, if you all remember, we have been reading repeatedly. It is the chief element amongst all the 9 elements. And that incorporates the potencies of sensory, mental, and physical strength. He has a conch shell, which represents water. The Sudarshan Chakra is the fire. The sword, which is very pure like the sky. The element ether. He also has shield, which is ignorance. He has both, whose name is Saranga, which represents time, and the arrows which is carrying are the working sensory organs. Now, his arrows are said to be the senses, and he's driving a chariot. So that is this active, forceful mind. His whole external appearance is a subtle object of perception, and the way his hands move are the essence of purposeful activity. The Lord is worshipped on sun globe. The Diksha that we talk about, or the spiritual initiation, it is the means for purification of the soul, and the rendering of the devotional service is the process for eradicating all sinful reactions. This is how the whole description of the Mahapurush is. And we'll be seeing it further. How the whole Mahapurush is so beautiful, so opulent. What we need to remember is he is Anadir Adir Govinda. And if you are able to remember this form, we can become free of our sinful reactions. And it is knowingly, unknowingly, consciously, unconsciously, we who are indulging in many activities which are sinful and which go against the established principles of dharma. And hence, this purification is for our own self. That is why this description also becomes very important. So, twofold objectives are being achieved when we are going through this chapter. One, how can we remember Krishna? So, this description makes us understand that whatever we think, the best among that is Krishna. And that is his opulence. That is why he is Bhagavan. Just like Dhanvan is the possessor of Dhana, wealth, Vidyavan is the possessor of knowledge, Bhagavan is the possessor of good luck, Bhagavan is the possessor of Bhaga, or all opulences. That is what we understand from this Mahapurush description. And we need to inculcate it in our mind so that we always remember it to such an extent that when death strikes, we are able to remember Krishna. And if we can remember Krishna at that time, the purpose of our life is achieved. Antakale cha mameva smaran muktva kalevaram is what Krishna has promised. And this is what we achieve by going through this chapter number from the 12th canto. Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpatarubhescha kripa sindhu bhayavacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.